Apparently, Robert, you still don't get it. Do you get Tenet?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of, I definitely get it more, like when, I think I did get it more than I realized when I was shooting it. Thank God.
All I have is a word. Tenet. It'll open the right doors, and some of the wrong ones, too.
It's 2:30 here a.m. in Singapore. I feel like we're doing a bit of a time inversion thing ourselves. So
This is actually happening yesterday.
So congratulations on the movie. That was pretty amazing. It's also such a ride to go back to the cinema and watch something as magnificent as what you guys do. What was it like to shoot with the Christopher Nolan? I know you're a big fan of his.
Huge fan. I had to pinch myself constantly to make sure this was really happening, like, or is this Inception? You know, Look, I love working with the man. He made me feel like a colleague, like an equal. He was very open, is receptive, and encouraged my ideas or my interpretation of what he wrote. I just felt so confident and comfortable because he trusted me with the role.
This is your second time with Christopher Nolan. Was it easier this time around or was it harder?
I thought that it couldn't be any bigger than Dunkirk. And then the first time I met Christopher on this, we were in an auditorium with 5,000 real people, 300-piece real orchestra, 200 crew. And there he was, frankly, like the conductor orchestrating the whole thing. I admire him unreservedly. I trust him absolutely. He wants your contribution and he will be confidently able to include it or, discard it if it's no good. But no, you show up and you work for him because that's a pleasure.
Can you tell me about what it's like sort of shooting those scenes? Because things are going forwards and backwards, and then you've got Nolan standing there. Like, what was it like?
Luckily, the majority of the time when there's lots of inverted time stuff happening, I never had to think of both sides of it at the same time. It's all the responsibility is Chris Nolan's. So thank God, because I would have no idea how to figure out any of it at all. But yeah, there was definitely a lot. I had to ask Chris almost every single take. Okay, so which way are we going? Like this is, but yeah, to watch it all put together at the end, I'm like, how on earth to have a brain which thinks like, oh, this would be fun to write this movie, which is not only impossible to make, it was impossible to write.
We want the audience to go wow and whoa and react to it in that way, and not try to understand it necessarily on the first time, but just as the trailer says, don't try to understand it, feel it. I mean, we were literally learning how to walk, talk, punch, evade punches backwards. There's a whole different level and rules of movement now. Nobody in the history of cinema has ever done this before.
Apparently, Robert, you still don't get it. Do you get Tenet?
It was quite a relief to watch it and be like, I think I did get it more than I realized when I was shooting it. I mean, this is quite complicated theoretical physics.
I read that you were constantly asking him questions about the script.
First time I read the script, it took me 4 hours to read it. And he was very patient with me. I was constantly trying to track where he was emotionally and physically in the film every day. That was important to me.
I was talking to John David and even Robert were saying about how they were on set picking your brains almost all the time.
My job with the actors is to explain everything. To do their job, they have to know, they have to have the grounding in what my view of things is. There can't be ambiguities there between us. And so, no, I tried as hard as I could, and they certainly kept me on their toes. They had excellent questions, which were sometimes hard to answer. These guys were the absolute top of the tree, and they really would analyze things from their character's point of view.
It's not even a question of getting everything or even anything. I think there's no question any audience will be held by this incredible soundtrack, the immersive nature of the way he shoots it, the travel around the globe, and everything else is all that fun stuff, at least that I enjoy, leaving a movie theater and talking all the way home with my wife about what did you think, what did I think, and trying to answer the riddles.
Elizabeth, what was it like being the rose among the thorn?
I was just very, very lucky that I got to work with these three because Rob and JD and Ken are just the most, sorry Rob, it's so awkward while you're here, most beautiful people, really, really, truly. You're beautiful and you're kind and you're funny. But what I love about her really is that she does really hold her own. What I think is actually really empowering for women watching her as well is that she sort of grows in strength. And the woman you meet at the beginning of the film would never have imagined she would have been a part of this. So I love that. I love that that was written into her.
If you, John David, had a chance to actually time invert, what would you go back and change?
Because of where we are currently, it would fix COVID. It would prevent it. You know, if I were the protagonist, I feel like this is the sequel to Tenet.
Oh my God, that's a brilliant idea. What would you, as Kenneth Branagh, change?
Well, it's such an interesting question. I think the film poses it. You know, you say, well, okay, let's all go back to before COVID and we can save all the pain and tragedy that COVID said. Well, if we do that, why don't we go back even further and stop that war or this war? But if that doesn't happen, does something worse happen? And it's so tempting because human instinct leads one to do things that would protect people and help people and stop illness and unkindness and unhappiness and disaster. But it is so laden with terrible consequences. And I got a chance to play with a man who experiments with these appalling consequences. So Tenet is a great way of answering your question.
We're trying to prevent World War III.
Nuclear holocaust?
No. Something worse.
You have to start looking at the world in a new way.